Hello, Concordia Place parents. My name is Jessica Jacobi. I am an intern at Concordia Place. Welcome to this recorded webinar. Today we're going to talk about challenging behaviors in young children, how to best understand and unpack what is happening, why they need you the most during those hard moments, and how to use and tailor certain strategies that could help your child and yourself feel calmer and safer. We will first briefly describe what we mean when we say the phrase challenging behaviors. We will then explain how development unfolds during the first years of life and some reasons that can help us understand those big reactions that our children could show us at difficult times. We will discuss how individual differences account for why children react differently to same situations. We will talk about the importance of co-regulation and our role as adults. And finally, we will consider some strategies that you could tailor to your own family, child, culture, and worldview. Young children communicate with their behaviors. When they seem calm and engaged, they might be telling us that they feel good and happy. In contrast, when they turn red and fussy, or when they throw tantrums, their bodies could be showing us that they are overstimulated, hungry, or tired, and need our help. Even though older children are beginning to use oral language to tell us what they need, they still lack the capacity to use their words when they are in distress. I know it is hard, but we should strive to understand challenging behaviors for the information they tell us about how the child is experiencing the world. I believe that thinking about a specific moment when your child displayed challenging behaviors will help you to better ground this presentation and relate what you learn here to what might make sense or not to your specific situation. Please pause, bring a piece of paper and pen or use your cell phone notes and jot down a moment where your child was displaying challenging behaviors. What was your child doing? Was he or she shouting, pushing, crying? During that moment, did you know that the reason for his or her behaviors? What happened just before? And how were you, the adult, feeling on your inside? How were you reacting on the outside? Did anything seem to help your child calm down? Infants and toddlers are beginning to decipher the world around them and themselves. Very young infants do not even know yet that they have a body of their own and that they are separate from their parents and close caregivers. As they grow and develop, they start understanding that they are whole and unique human beings. They are learning about themselves, that they have a body and a mind of their own, and that what they might want might not be the same as what the adult wants or expects. When children assert themselves, when they learn to say no, they are telling us that they are becoming their own persons. They need this period of normal development to learn that they are individuals and develop a positive sense of selves. What is more, beginning during the second year, they are learning language and how to best express themselves. Over time, they will learn to produce certain sounds that will then become words, phrases, complete sentences, and more complex communication. However, this is a long process that does not end until the fourth year or even later. Even though a child can name what he wants, like mommy, water, no, or me do it, naming or using words to express what he is feeling in his inside is a much more complicated process that develops over time and with our modeling and help. Daniel Siegel, a renowned child psychiatrist, talks about the brain being made of the upstairs or the thinking brain and the downstairs or the emotional brain. When all parts of the brain are working well together, we can think and feel things at the same time. We feel calm yet alert and are ready to explore and learn. When we or children feel overwhelmed, then the downstairs or the emotional brain can override the upstairs thinking brain. Dr. Dan Siegel calls this flipping the lid. After flipping the lid, older children and adults have usually developed the self-regulation skills needed to return themselves to a state of calm or self-regulation, whereas younger children still need adult help to do this. which is called co-regulation. Young children need lots of experiences of co-regulation to help them self-regulate as they grow. In other words, every time an adult helps a child to return to a state of calm when big emotions have taken over, they are helping them to be able to calm themselves in the future. Eventually, children will learn to use reasoning, concepts, and thinking to flexibly manage life challenges. This can only be achieved if, in their early years, they have continuous opportunities of connection and a sense of security and love with you, their primary caregiver. The most important ingredient for all child development is the relationship between parent and child. We will now continue with the exercise we started before. Did your child have the developmental capacities to use words and self-regulate and use his rationality? How would you react next time to help him calm down and co-regulate? How could you model using calming words that might help him better understand himself and the situation with more perspective? Challenging behaviors, instead of trying to push us away from them, is telling us that they need us the most. Can you think of some moments when you feel that you are walking over eggshells with your children? And at other times they feel much more relaxed and easy. There are moments when children seem to be fine and content most of the time. And there are other difficult moments where everything that happens might send them to having a whole and intense meltdowns. According to a pediatrician called Barry Brazelton, there are moments when our children are rapidly developing in many different areas. These are called touch points. These moments are hard moments because children must learn to be in the world with very new capacities, which is often hard for their nervous systems. In these moments, they might feel nervous and stressed most of the time. It is good to know that these times last a couple of days, and then children return to their own normals and they seem even older and more mature. There are other times when children are sick or have recently recovered. Because their energy was focused on recovering and because they did not feel okay in their own bodies, they felt a huge amount of stress or unsafety. Instead of using their integrated brains and having that peace of mind and calmness, they seem to overreact to everything in their environments. This too is normal, although so hard for us and for them. Have you heard the term individual differences? No two children are the same. We all know that. If you have more than one child, you will most probably know that, that the way one reacts to certain stimuli might be completely different than the other. Children's way of reacting varies in intensity and duration. What might set off one child might be what another child enjoys or might not even pay attention to. Some children feel really uncomfortable with certain fabrics or the feeling of the etiquette on their shirts. And if they lack the understanding and words to communicate it, they might be set off and show challenging behaviors without even noticing about it. Some children might also be bothered by low lights or by very intense noises, while others do not seem to notice them, even by the temperature in the food or the textures. It is good and helpful to know what your child likes and dislikes, so we can try to tailor the environment and help them feel good and safe in it. We will continue with the exercise, so please bring your notes or your cell phone and jot down what sensory sensations your child tends to prefer and the ones that he dislikes. How can you help him feel safer and calmer during stressful situations? Take your time. When they are in distress, children are unable to self-regulate most of the time. When we respond to our children's behaviors with warm and responsive interactions, we provide them with the support, coaching, and modeling they need. In other words, children need us to regulate. This process is called co-regulation. When children's needs are met in this way, they grow to learn that they can trust the adults in their world to care for them. Having the expectation that their needs will be met allows them to relax, develop self-soothing skills over time. When we find ourselves feeling overwhelmed, angry, or burnt out, we need to learn healthy ways to manage these strong feelings. When we project our own calm state on a child having a tantrum, we can have an impact on their physiological state. We can help the child regulate himself or herself. These are some self-regulation strategies that can help you maintain your calm to help your child calm down during difficult moments. The first one is mindful breathing, a technique of focusing attention on the breath to calm the mind and reduce stress. For example, taking deep breaths while counting to 10. The second is grounding. It is a technique of becoming present in the moment by using the senses to connect with the surroundings. For example, feeling the texture of a nearby object or listening to the sound of birds. Imagery. This is a technique of visualizing positive or calming scenes in the mind to reduce anxiety and promote relaxation. For example, imagining a peaceful beach or a relaxing garden. And positive self-talk, a technique of using positive affirmations and self-encouragement to boost self-confidence and reduce negative self-talk. For example, saying, I can do this before um, correlating with your child. Or he is a good child having a hard time. I will help him calm down. Provide yourself with heavy doses of self-compassion because, well, it's exhausting and difficult to find patience for these difficult moments. Up until this point in the presentation, we have gained a perspective to understanding why our children show challenging behaviors at certain times, what they mean, and what they might show us about their internal feelings of safety and well-being. We will now talk about some strategies you can use after you feel calm yourself and are able to co-regulate. Be mindful to tailor these strategies to your unique family, personality, circumstances, and of course, your child. First, transitions. Be clear ahead of time. Why? Because transitions can be hard. When children don't know what's going to happen next, the world can feel and seem unsafe, which sends them into a meltdown mode. Instead, when they know what's going to happen before it happens, their world feels secure and predictable. They can gain a sense of agency. You can begin by explaining the facts and giving lots of details. For instance, you can tell them, when you finish eating lunch, we are going to Grandma's house. We will wash your hands, put on your shoes and jacket, and sit in the car. Number two, giving them a sense of agency. Why? Because children are becoming their own persons and learning who they are. They try to assert themselves to separate from us and gain a sense of agency. How? You can give them some opportunities to be in charge, with decisions and age-appropriate choices that we are comfortable with throughout the day. You can tell them, it's time to go to bed. Do you want to read Llama Llama or The Wheels on the Bus? Or, we are about to leave the park. Do you want to go down the slide one more time or climb the tower? Number three, reframing the no answers. Why? Because children can get frustrated when being told no all the time. It does not mean that we have to agree with everything they say. However, we can creatively reframe some of our no answers by being calm ourselves and giving them alternatives with which we feel comfortable with. For instance, instead of saying, no, you cannot eat pancakes, you can try and say, you want to eat pancakes. I love pancakes too. Let's cook pancakes together tomorrow morning for breakfast. Number four, accepting all their emotions. This will not avoid the tantrum, but your child will feel safe and seen. Everyone needs to feel loved and understood all the time. If you empathize and accept all their emotions, they will soon learn to recognize, name, and manage their own, which will help them become emotionally healthy adults. When your child can label how he is feeling, it helps him gain control over his emotions and communicate them to others. You can empathize with them, name their feelings, and try to stay calm. For instance, you can say, I see how frustrated you are. I cannot let you watch more TV now. I know you are sad. It's okay to be sad. I am here with you. Number 5. Use timers and visuals for waiting. Timers are great tools for helping children learn to share. Also, children cannot understand the concept of time. 1 minute for them could mean the same as one carrot. Timers instead are visual reminders and can help them know how much time is left. If two children are fighting to use the same toy, you can use a timer. Or you can show them with your hands how much TV time is left. You can tell them using two fingers like this little time, or with two hands like you still have a lot of time to watch TV. It's hard to wait sometimes, isn't it? You will have 2 minutes to use the scooter, and you can show them with the timer. Then Maria will have 2 more minutes herself. I will set the timer. See? Number 6. Use your detective lens. Why? Sometimes children cannot understand what is happening inside their bodies, and the way they tell us is by having challenging behaviors. When we realize that our children are not feeling good, we can anticipate and provide them with what they need. You can start by paying close attention to his early cues and signs. Anticipate and offer him what you think he needs to feel safe and calm. For instance, if your child is rubbing his eyes, offer him to go to sleep a little bit earlier. Or if he has not eaten for a couple of hours, you can offer him food. We'll now briefly talk about some strategies that you can try to avoid because they are not developmentally appropriate and usually exacerbate the behaviors in the long term. You can avoid using big emotional reactions because they give the challenging behavior too much attention. You can avoid using punishment, shaming, and fear because children do not learn long term when they are in distress. You can avoid using too much negotiation. Some choices could be okay, but children need clear boundaries to feel safe. And you can avoid labeling children as bad. Talk matter of fact and build on the child's strengths. To finish this short exercise, please think what strategies you could have used during those difficult moments. Jot down 2 examples of how you could have helped your child. Also, think of one self-regulation strategy that could help you ground yourself and be calm during future challenging moments to co-regulate with your child. As we have seen, when children are having challenging moments, they need us the most. I hope this presentation was useful. Bye bye.